Your learning target for today, I can write equivalent fractions and decimals using tenths and hundredths. Hi friends, so I'm going to walk you through what that learning target means. The word equivalent means has the same value. So if we're going to make equivalent fractions and decimals using tenths and hundredths, we're going to make the tenths and hundredths have the same value. And let me show you, because that sounds kind of like a lot, but really it's actually quite simple. So if we have this 4 tenths, if we add a 0 to the end of that, we have 40 hundredths, but the value stays the same. If we have 60 hundredths and we want to change that to tenths, we can just take off the 0 at the end, and now we have 6 tenths. So the way that we would do that with fractions, let's say we have 8 over 10, but we want to make that out of 100, so we would add a 0 to the denominator, and we would also add a 0 to the numerator. That way the value stays the same, because 8 out of 100 does not equal 80 out of 100. So that's why we would need to add a 0 to the top as well. So let's do another fraction. If we have 70 100ths, but we want to change that to out of 10, we would take off the 0 both times, and we're left with 7 tenths. Okay, pretty easy. So we're gonna have a few different problem types that we'll work through, and then you'll have the opportunity to practice on your own, okay? Okay, here's the first problem type. It says write the numbers as tenths in fraction and decimal forms. So we'll start over here. We have 80 hundredths, but we want to make it into tenths. So we'll take off the both zeros for the top and the bottom. So here's our fraction form, 8 tenths. And then here is our decimal form. We don't have a whole number, so 8 tenths. Now this one, 50 100ths, we're going to take off both zeros. Our fraction form is 5 tenths, and our decimal form is 0.5 tenths. Our last one is in decimal form already, but it's in 30 hundredths, and we're going to make it into tenths, so we will take off the 0. Here's our decimal form that we're left with, 3 tenths. And to make that into a fraction, the 3 goes in the numerator and the 10 is the denominator. Here is your second type. Your directions say write the number as hundredths in fraction and decimal forms. So here we have 2 tenths, and we're going to make it into hundredths. So by doing that, we have to add a 0 to the bottom and to the top. So our fraction form is 20 hundredths. And our decimal form is 0.20 hundredths. Next one, we have 0.7 or 7 tenths. To make this into hundredths, we're going to add a 0 at the end. For this to be a fraction, you will have 70 hundredths. And now our last one, we have a mixed number, 2 and 1/10. So our whole number, let's do our decimal first. Our whole number is 2. We're making it into hundredths, so we have to add a 0 to the top and the bottom, so we have 10 hundredths. So here's our decimal form, 2 and 10 hundredths. For this to be a fraction, it'll look just like this, 2 and 10 hundredths. Okay? And the third type of problem, write the number represented by the point as hundredths in fraction and decimal forms. So remember, hundredths is 2 place values to the right of the decimal. So here we have a number line. It starts at 0 and it ends at 2 with the 1 in the middle. So let's count how many tick marks there are in between each whole number, which is 0, 1, and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that would make the 1 10. Let's make sure we have 10 on this one too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. we're gonna do our work over here on the side. So A, B, and C. So A, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be 0.4, but we're making it into hundredths, so we need to add a 0 to the end. So that's 40 hundredths. So A, 40 hundredths. That's our decimal form. We have to do fraction as well. So 40 hundredths in fraction form is 40 over 100. Let me turn my camera just a little bit, make sure you guys can see that fraction part. Okay, now B, let's just start at 0.4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But we need to make it into hundredths, so we'll add a 0 to the end. There's our decimal form, 90 hundredths. Now the fraction, we'll do 90 over 100. And finally C is our last point, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 is our whole number, then our decimal, then 5. But we need to add a 0 to the end. I'll put that right here too. To make this into a fraction, our 1 is going to be a mixed number, so a whole number, and then we'll have 50 100ths. Okay, those are the 3 types of problems that you'll be doing: converting things from hundredths to tenths, converting tenths to hundredths, and then finding the places on the line and doing both tenths and hundredths for that. Good luck!